Julien Alfred is back in Monaco, but this is not the same sprinter fans watched dominate here before. She won the 100 meters on this track in 2024, returned a year later, and ran even faster. Now she is leaving her safest event behind and stepping into the 200 meters against the Olympic champion, who denied her gold and the fastest woman in the world this season. Alfred has already run faster than almost anyone expected, but Friday night will reveal whether she is ready to take control of the race that has never fully belonged to her. And the reason this challenge means so much begins in Paris. In the summer of 2024, Julien Alfred, representing the small Caribbean island of Saint Lucia, any sport in its entire history, and it sent an entire island into celebration. Days later, she stepped onto the same Paris track and claimed silver in the 200 meters, finishing behind American sprinter Gabby Thomas in 22.08 seconds. 2 medals, 1 Olympic, and a small island nation watching its flag raised on the biggest stage the sport has to offer. Since that summer, Alfred has built her reputation almost entirely around the shorter sprint. She is the 2-time defending Diamond League champion in the 100 meters, claiming the title in both 2024 and 2025. And Monaco specifically has hosted both of those winning nights. Her name became tied to that particular finish line, that particular distance, and that particular result. Win the 100 in Monaco, collect the trophy, move on to the next city on the circuit. It became something close to a formality. This season, though, something has clearly changed. Alfred opened her outdoor year with a blistering 200-meter time of 21.86 seconds in Austin, Texas back in April, a mark that led the entire world heading into the European summer swing. That single race sent a message that she was no longer content sitting in the shadow of Gabby Thomas over the longer sprint. In early June, she carried that form to Rome and lined up against a runner many consider the best sprinter alive on the planet right now. Melissa Jefferson Wooden walked into that Rome Diamond League meeting as the reigning world champion over the 100, the 200, and the relay, having swept all 3 titles the previous September in Tokyo. The 2 women had raced each other over the shorter sprint many times before, trading wins back and forth across 2 seasons, but they had never once lined up together over 200 meters. When the starting gun went off, Jefferson Wooden actually got the better start, pulling ahead through the opening curve as the Roman crowd rose to its feet. But Alfred found another gear coming off the bend, easing past her rival down the long home straight and crossing the line in 21.93 seconds, more than 0.2 of a second clear of the reigning champion. Afterward, Alfred pointed to her improved strength in training as the reason she could push again late in the race, a part of the sprint that used to work against her in years past. Behind that transformation is her longtime coach, Adaejah Hodge, known within the sport simply as Coach Flo. Hodge has spent recent seasons quietly reshaping Alfred from a runner who exploded out of the blocks and tried to hold on into one who can accelerate through the final third of a race just as effectively as she starts it. That shift is exactly what showed up in Rome, when Alfred trailed at the halfway mark and still found a way to win going away. A week later, she added a 100-meter win in Oslo to her season tally, giving her 2 Diamond League victories already banked before the calendar even reached July. Now Alfred arrives in Monaco chasing a 3rd, and this time she is doing it in the exact stadium where she has only ever known herself as a 100-meter champion, in a race that has never once belonged to her there. Standing in her way is a field that could not be tougher. Gabby Thomas, the reigning Olympic champion over 200 meters, and the very same runner who beat Alfred to gold on that Paris track 2 summers ago, makes her first Diamond League appearance of the entire season on this stage. Thomas clocked 21.70 seconds in Texas last month, the 3rd fastest time of her whole career, and she arrives in Monaco with something to prove after a quiet opening to her year away from the Diamond League circuit. Then there is Adaejah Hodge, a 20-year-old sprinter from the British Virgin Islands who has quietly become the fastest woman in the 200 meters anywhere in the world this season. Her time of 21.68 seconds, set last month, currently sits ahead of both Alfred and Thomas on the global list. Hodge is only just breaking onto the Diamond League scene, finishing 3rd in the 100 meters on her circuit debut in Eugene a few weeks ago, but she has already shown she carries the raw speed to trouble 2 Olympic champions at the exact same time. For a runner still building her name on this stage, beating either of these two women in Monaco would be the kind of result that changes how the entire sport views her heading into next year. 3 women, 3 completely different paths to Monaco, and only one finish line waiting for them on Friday night under the lights above the harbor. A strong run here would also strengthen Alfred's position heading toward the Diamond League final in Brussels this September, where the points earned across the entire season decide who gets to compete for the overall title in each event. Every result between now and then adds to that total, and a win over both Thomas and Hodge on one of the fastest tracks in the world would be the clearest signal. Yet that Alfred enters the back half of the season as the sprinter to beat over 200 meters, not just 100. The meeting Hercules EBS itself carries a reputation that few other stops on the circuit can match. Stade Louis II, tucked against the Monaco coastline with yachts visible beyond the stands, is widely considered one of the fastest tracks anywhere in the world, the kind of surface that produces standout times almost every single summer it hosts a meet. This year's edition is stacked well beyond the women's 200 meters alone. Pole vault world record holder Armand Duplantis, who recently made Monaco his actual home after years living between the United States and Sweden, is chasing yet another record on the very turf he now trains on daily. Distance star Faith Kipyegon returns to the same stadium where she once broke the world mile record, looking to add another chapter to her history there. Jamaica's Oblique Seville headlines a loaded men's 100 meters against 200 meters Olympic champion Letsail Tebogo and a field packed with sub-10-second runners. But for a lot of fans tuning in on Friday night, the women's 200 meters is the race everyone will still be talking about long after the meet ends. It is not just a rematch or a simple season opener for the athletes involved. It is a genuine chance for Julien Alfred to answer a question that has followed her ever since that Paris night 2 years ago. Alfred has already beaten one of these rivals this season, coming from behind to run down Jefferson Wooden in Rome. She has never faced Gabby Thomas over 200 meters since that Olympic final 2 summers ago, and she has never once tried to defend her Monaco magic in a race that is not the 100 meters. Whatever happens on that harborside track on Friday, it will tell us something real about where the women's 200 meters stands heading toward next year's World Championships. Julien Alfred built her legend in Monaco running the shorter distance, twice without much resistance. Now she is back, chasing that same magic in a race that has never quite belonged to her, and this time nothing is guaranteed.